Hello and welcome to a new KSAT Money Q&A. I'm Ivan Herrera, and today I'm joined by Cristina Olivares, an award-winning social media and business coach and founder of Social Butterfly Gal and Hustle and Socialize. Cristina, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So today we're going to be talking about the importance of social media and business, Latinas in the business world, and your upcoming Hustle and Socialize conference coming up at Geekdom on June 10th. But first, can you share a little bit about yourself and more about your business background?
I'm originally from the Rio Grande Valley. I moved to San Antonio about a decade ago. And while I was looking for a job, my whole entire background has been in television news reporting. And every single time I would interview, I would not get the job. And around that time, I was noticing that social media was coming into the forefront for business owners. And so I started to really hone in on the skills that I was learning in college, which is broadcast journalism and writing and understanding how to market yourself on the web. And from there, I started to manage social media for different clients like Urban Bricks Pizza and different retail organizations here in San Antonio. And that from there, it led me to build my own social media management company, which then in turn transitioned into social media coaching specifically for service-based business owners.
I love that, that you're from the Valley. What school did you go to? Because I actually went to UTPA. I don't know if you went to the same school.
I actually went to college at Texas State University.
Okay.
So I would commute back and forth for my internship, which was at several TV stations here in San Antonio.
Awesome. Awesome. You have a lot of San Antonio roots, a lot of Rio Grande Valley roots, and some San Marcos roots from being there for college, huh?
Yes, I do. I really do.
Now, as someone who deals with a lot of social media in business, what are some of the biggest hurdles that you see for businesses that are looking to stand out?
The biggest hurdle that we saw specifically in 2020 and in the pandemic was a lot of business owners didn't really have a consistent social media presence. When the pandemic hit, everybody started to gravitate towards the online world. And that was where the gaps started to show with specific business owners who had always thought that social media was a little bit of an option for them and not necessarily a necessity. So once we started kind of climbing out of the hard aspects of the pandemic, more business owners were starting to understand that social media is a key component to their overall marketing. One of the other biggest hurdles is that social media changes so quickly. These platforms change and update at a fast rate. I think there's almost an update every single day from Instagram and Twitter and even Facebook. And so for a business owner to really understand the core components of storytelling and video content specifically, a hurdle for them is understanding how to create a strategy and map everything out so that they are really visible online. And that's exactly what I help my clients with, is that key component of visibility and reach to help them get to their customers at such a fast rate and a more effective communication rate through their social media strategy.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I love what you said about the pandemic and where people actually started paying more attention to social media, because I did notice it myself, where a lot more companies were doing a lot more interaction, a lot more fun stuff. Even us, you know, we really increased like what we were doing on social media. So I think that it was a really good pivot in terms of like a business opportunity for anybody who is in business, media or otherwise, for something like that. So you recently posted about celebrating 8 years of business. And do you have any, you had some advice on LinkedIn for entrepreneurs. Do you have any advice for early stage business owners that you say is essential for years of success?
I got started in my entrepreneurial journey when I was still in my early 20s. And I think one of the most important things that I realized from then to now is the importance of having a core network, a group of like-minded individuals that you are going to be able to be mentored by or referred to by, and being able to have a core community so that when you are building and growing, you can have somebody that is supporting you along the way. I think one of the things that was super beneficial to me as I started to grow in my business was I was starting to invest in more business education and resources, but also people that I could delegate specific tasks to. And I think as young entrepreneurs, we really have to have a clear emphasis on what are some of the investments that we need to be making in terms of, you know, business education and resources. And I think that that was so helpful for me, was going to these networking events and meeting with people and taking coffee meetings with other core business owners, even having a very active social media presence. I've met so many people through Twitter. I've met journalists on Twitter and producers and people that are connected in the city. And because I had that social media presence as well, it really helped my brand and it really helps the reputation. And so having those two components of an online brand and an offline brand and being able to have a community is one thing that I think is so important for any entrepreneur, young, seasoned, to know, to have.
I love that you mentioned that, because Twitter is really important for business owners. I've seen it, you know, all these huge brands, and why not take, you know, a page out of their book? Even if you're the smallest guy, they're doing the exact same thing. So you kind of just either emulate it or just improve it your own way, you know?
Absolutely. And to also, I think, you know, understanding to the reach of how your circle of influence can help as you're just getting started. I know there's so many key people in the city that have spoken my name in rooms that I'm not a part of. And so I think it's really important for young entrepreneurs to understand how building your influence and networking will do you one big favor.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, just touching back on success, you recently won the Latinitas Legacy Award. Now, this organization empowers girls to innovate through media and tech. So what are some of the efforts that you've made to help Latinas and other women in, you know, this business field?
Latanitas is an organization out of Austin, and I interned there at their office when I was in college. And so to see my own journey of being an intern and then being a speaker and now serving as the San Antonio Advisory Board Chair, it means a lot to me. And I think one of the things that I regularly do is I mentor a lot of young girls here in San Antonio. So whether they are young girls, you know, ages 8 to 16, or college students or high school students, mentoring is something that's so important for me, specifically for Latinas. As young Latinas, we don't really have good mentors that we could look up to and say, that's what I want to do, or, you know, that's what I envision my life. And what's so important about my story and my journey in entrepreneurship was that I built my whole entire business from the ground up with things that weren't even considered a job. I mean, social media was not a thing back when I was in high school, right? Of course, we had AOL and MySpace and those things, but I think it's really important for me. So I regularly mentor with the Boardroom Project. I mentor with Girls Inc. I've mentored some college students, and then bringing Latanitas from Austin to San Antonio. I help them host their Startup Chica conferences and their Future Chica conferences so that young girls can understand how to create a business at such a young age.
That's really, really awesome. And, you know, I kind of think back at my niece who's 11 years old, and I kind of want to be a role model for her. So I love that there are other people who are trying to be role models for other, you know, young Latinas in business. And, you know, you've done all these big events that you are now doing another one. And this is, I think, your 5th year, right? Coming up on Hustle and Socialize. So tell me a little bit about it. I know it's about getting people into, you know, the entrepreneurial world. So, but what are the benefits of attending?
One of the most important things about Hustle and Socialize, this is my women's conference. It's specifically for minority-owned businesswomen who are looking to gain the credibility, the confidence, and the skills in entrepreneurship. So we go through, it's a powerful day where we go through all the necessary things that a person would need in order to understand how to grow and scale their business. So we have different tracks based on finance, marketing and sales, community building. And this is just a great way to not just get plugged into our business community in San Antonio, but to also meet and connect and build relationships with women from all parts of Texas. We've got people representing from the Valley, from Austin and Dallas. And this is just a really great, powerful day to meet other women, connect with other business women, be in a room full of change makers and champions of women empowerment, and just understand how the needs are for minority business women. I started Hustle and Socialize in 2018 after not really seeing specific business education and resources and opportunities for minority-owned businesswomen in San Antonio. There was nothing like this in our community. In fact, Hustle and Socialize is a homegrown conference. And it wasn't until I realized that I always wanted to have a conference. I thought it was going to be a social media conference, and it ended up becoming a business conference. So I launched it in 2018. And we've been going ever since. We've hosted, this will be the 5th year. And it's just amazing to see the amount of talent that San Antonio has, but also a way for us to really uplift the needs of minority-owned businesswomen.
Yeah, definitely. I actually love that you said all that, because it's definitely true. I know that there's a lot of kind of like noise for people who are in the business world, and sometimes it's like hard to sift through all that noise, so you just want to like find something that'll help you get it right on track. So I think that sounds like a really awesome event. Thank you so much for sharing your insight into, you know, the entrepreneurial landscape. Where could people find you if they want to connect with you or if they want to follow you?
You can connect with me on Instagram. My handle is @thesocialbutterflygal. You can also find all of my information about my private coaching and the conference as well on my website, thesocialbutterflygal.net.
Christina, thank you so much for joining me on this KSAT Money Q&A. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.